Prayer is the most wonderful experience man can have. Unlike the daily murmurings of the vast majority of mankind in all lands who by their vain repetitions hope to gain the ear of God, prayer is the ecstasy of a spiritual wedding taking place in the deep, silent stillness of consciousness. All right, let's back up a little bit, right? So what is prayer? Prayer is the most wonderful experience man can have. Unlike the daily murmurings of the vast majority of mankind in all lands who by their vain repetitions hope to gain the ear of God because they are praying in vain. They are begging, right? Most people are begging or asking from a lack standpoint, right? True prayer. So prayer is the ecstasy of a spiritual wedding taking place in the deep, silent stillness of consciousness. So true prayer is assuming the feeling of already being, doing, or having the thing desired. That's what true prayer is. True prayer is claiming. That's why they say most people are murmuring, right? In its true sense, prayer is God's marriage ceremony. Just as a maid on her wedding day relinquishes the name of her family to assume the name of her husband, in like manner, one who prays must relinquish his present name or nature and assume the nature of that for which he prays. So one must relinquish the consciousness of poverty, release the consciousness of being sick, right? Release the consciousness of being unworthy. Release any consciousness of not being the one you desire to be. And you must assume, right? When he said relinquish his present name or nature, that is essentially release the consciousness that you are not the thing you desire to be and assume the nature or assume the consciousness of that for which you desire to experience, right? The Gospels have clearly instructed man as to the performance of this ceremony in the following manner. When ye pray, go within in secret and shut the door, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Right? So you do this in consciousness. The going within is the entering of the bridal chamber. Just as no one but the bride and groom are permitted to enter so holy a room as the bridal suite on the night of the marriage ceremony, likewise, no one but the one who prays and that for which he prays are permitted to enter the holy hour of prayer. As the bride and groom, on entering the bridal suite, securely shut the door against the outside world, so too must the one who enters the holy hour of prayer close the door of the senses. So, right, close the door of your outer world. Close the door to what's going on in your environment, right? Go within. So close the door of the senses and entirely shut out the world round about him. This is accomplished by taking the attention completely away from all things other than that which you are now in love, the thing desired, Let's back up. This is accomplished by taking the attention completely away from all things other than that which you are now in love, the thing desired. The second phase of this spiritual ceremony is defined in these words. When ye pray, believe that ye receive, and ye shall receive. As you joyfully contemplate being and possessing that which you desire to be and to have, you have taken this second step and are therefore spiritually performing the acts of marriage and generation. Your receptive attitude of mind while praying or contemplating can be likened to a bride or womb, for it is that aspect of mind which receives the impressions. All right? So, the receptive attitude, the belief, the consciousness that already knows that you are the thing you desire to be is like the bride or womb. All right? That which you contemplate being is the groom. For it is the name or nature you assume, and therefore is that which leaves its impregnation. So one dies to the maidenhood or present nature as one assumes the name and nature of the impregnation. So in other words, once we assume that we are the man or woman that we desire to be, that's when it takes place. That's when the impregnation takes place. That's when the wedding, the spiritual wedding ceremony, so to speak, takes place. When you get the consciousness that I am that I am. When you feel it, when you believe it, when you know it. Lost in contemplation and having assumed the name and nature of the thing contemplated, having assumed the consciousness, your whole being thrills with the joy of being it. This thrill, which runs through your entire being as you appropriate the consciousness of your desire, is the proof that you are both married and impregnated. As you return from this silent meditation, the door is once more opened upon the world you had left behind. But this time, you return as a pregnant bride, so to speak. You enter the world a changed being, and although no one but you knows of this wonderful romance, the world will, in a very short while, see the signs of your pregnancy, for you will begin to express that which you, in your hour of silence, felt yourself to be. Now, I want to share something real quick, if I have time. I experienced exactly what Neville just wrote about. I experienced the thrill of already having my desire. And once I experienced the consciousness and the thrill of it through my entire being, I felt like I no longer desired to have money. I no longer desired to have financial abundance, wealth, and riches, because at that moment I felt the thrill, and the thrill was so amazing that I no longer desired to have financial abundance. I no longer desired to be rich. So that was, for me, as far as my understanding is, that was my spiritual ceremony, so to speak. The marriage between the two, the thing desired, so to speak, right? So I felt that, and I get what Neville is saying. So, and I'm sure you guys perhaps have felt that thrill and got to the point where you felt the thrill, you felt the joy. You start living from an inner perspective, living from the inside out, that you no longer are concerned about the thing that you are desiring, because you got it so much in consciousness that you no longer desire to have it in the outer world. If that makes sense. I'm not saying you don't still desire to experience it, but you get so deep in that thrill. That thrill is so amazing that you get to a place. I got there for a few seconds, right? And I felt like I didn't even want it anymore because I had it so much in consciousness. The thrill was so real. The thrill was everything. So let me know if you guys have experienced that, or let me know when you do experience what Neville is saying here, that thrill. Thank you.